So welcome back to today's lesson, and today's lesson is going to be all about sprouts, and hopefully you've all dabbled in this really fun way of creating such rich enzymatic food. So gorgeous little alfalfa sprouts, magnificent. Why are we sprouting our food? What is the benefit? And how do we do it so that we are able to obtain fantastic sprouts from our seeds, our grains, our legumes, which I'll be going into shortly. So sprouting is simply, if you've ever grown anything or you've ever watched anything come up in your garden, that first little shoot of a plant, whether it be a weed, a vegetable, an almond tree, that first little sprout coming up through the soil is where the most dynamic energy is available in this plant. So this is the energy that's going to take this plant up into either an almond tree, your cabbage plant, your carrots, your broccoli, your celery. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything starts with just a little sprout in the soil, which is pretty much what I've got in there. I'm not too sure what that one is. It could be a little bit of a spring onion just kind of sprouting up, and I didn't see it this morning. But once your seed or your grain, your legume has sprouted, you end up with something as fantastic as this. It's like an ice cream sundae to me because they are incredible. And how do we do it? And why are we doing it? You might be asking. Well, let's go into why are we doing this. Now, a medical study was performed using, unfortunately, laboratory animals. But I just want to bring this home to you, how powerful this is and how we create this in our food, in our own kitchens. We don't need to go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on supplements, on, this is a product called Executive Digest, and this is full of enzymes. So, this is a lot of money to be spending every week on your health. This is how we are producing our health and creating it, because it can be done in our kitchen, simply in a glass bottle. It is so simple. So why are we doing it? Well, enzymes in a body, in a laboratory, were removed from the laboratory animal. That animal died, didn't last very long at all. Now enzymes, you hear about enzymes, you see products on the shelf, but what are enzymes? Enzymes are little protein-like structures in our body. Without these enzymes, it's almost like a catalyst for vitamins, for minerals, for neurotransmitters, basically for every mechanism in the body to kind of do its next step, to fill its job, really. That enzyme is responsible for that. So take the enzymes out of us and we simply don't really exist very well. Now, as this little plant, just as an example, coming up through here, its enzymatic energy is the most powerful when it's just here. When it's come to be already a full-grown sprout, which you've already seen, its enzymatic energy is not quite as powerful as it was here. Now, just to bring this all into a nutshell, when we're creating something and we want the enzyme content to be improved 10-fold, 20-fold, 30-fold, what is the best thing we can do? Well, we simply just look at nature, because no chemical plant, no laboratory, no factory can produce what nature is producing right this minute in this soil. This is enzymatic energy at its highest, and this is when we need to be eating our food. Now, enzymes, we have so many different forms of enzymes in the body. We've got metabolic enzymes, and these all are so important for things like neurotransmitters, for our mood, our behaviors, the way we grow from children into adults, our thoughts. Enzymes are incredibly important in the body. What I like to focus on is the enzymes that are used in food and what each little seed actually has in it. That's the enzyme we're talking about, because these enzymes actually help us digest our food. So without having these enzymes from living food, and by eating cooked food, processed food, packaged food, they are absolutely enzyme depleted. There is no enzyme in that packet of protein whey powder. But have a mouthful of these sprouts and you're packing your body full of enzymes. So why and where do we produce our own enzymes, our digestive enzymes? Generally, the pancreas is involved in this. Now, we have an epidemic out there with diabetes. So we're looking at an organ that's involved in diabetes, and that's the pancreas. We've got insulin levels fluctuating. So the pancreas is involved in our digestive enzymes. So if we're eating food that is so devoid of its own living force, so anything cooked, anything processed, packaged, is completely devoid of enzymes. But if we eat food in its living form, whether it's a cultured food, this glass of sauerkraut would have the most abundant form of enzymes that you could ever want. So we use nature, we use food to help us digest that cooked meat. We help this to help us digest that Rivisa cracker, that packet of chips. Not to say that that's the food that we want to be living on, but this is how we start to combat our health. Now, just to give you a quick little lesson, because really this is so dynamic, it's so important, and it is so interesting. And nothing in nature basically starts without a seed, and without a seed germinating. So I've used nature, I've used temperature, I've used light, I've used oxygen, and all this creates its own little magic on this seed that's been soaked for 24 hours. I have some almonds here that have been soaked as well. Now, as these almonds start to germinate, you'll start to see it's almost like a little breakthrough in the top of this almond. And this, if we leave it and plant it in the soil, that will be an almond tree. So as we're taking this little enzyme action, this seed at this stage is the most powerful way to eat our food, because its enzyme action is at its highest, at its most powerful. So very simple, very easy to do. Try your first form of soaking, try your first form of sprouting. It's as easy as anything. Right, a glass of a bottle, take some warm water and top your seeds in that, whether it be a sunflower seed or a legume or some rice or an almond, and let this stand on your countertop in pretty temperate weather. So whether we have winter, whether we have summer, the temperature is going to dictate what happens to the seed. And as you can see, these have been soaking. This is a mung bean. These have been soaking for 24 hours, and already there's a little sprouting starting to happen, which means that its digestibility for the human stomach, for the intestine, is going to be far more superior than if we try to eat this just simply cooked. So there's a lot involved when we're talking about enzymes. Why are we doing it? When we're talking about sprouts, why are we sprouting our food? It's simply because we want our food to be more digestible. We want our nutrients to be more easily absorbed, easily available. If they aren't, if they're all locked up in that little hard nut, something as simple as this, this is a chickpea. If we just simply cook these chickpeas, it doesn't make its digestibility, as you probably all know quite well. Its digestibility isn't that easy. But if we take the same seed or the same legume, we soak it, we allow nature to do its magic, temperature, oxygen, the right everything, that'll start to germinate. That is the perfect time then we can start to cook them, because we have compounds in unsprouted food that basically stop us from digesting it, and it makes the bioavailability of nutrients and vitamins and minerals not that easy for the human body. So these are just chickpeas simply soaked. Again, we're already starting to see small little tails growing on them. They almost look like little tadpoles. Perfect. I would probably leave them for another 12 hours, and then I would drain the water and I'd start to cook them, because these compounds have been broken down and neutralized by the sprouting process. So it's a fundamental part of nature. Nature will never allow a seed to sprout if the temperature isn't correct, the water level isn't correct, and the oxygen level. So why are we trying to go against that and simply go against what nature really is wanting us to do with our food? It's really as simple as that.